Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another show after Arsenal have been beaten 2-1 by Brighton in what can be described as just an awful 90 minutes of football, really, besides one nice goal from Pepe. It's tough because every single time that this sort of show comes around where you expect Arsenal to win and they don't, I just seem to just pull up the same sort of adjectives, descriptions of the game, and it's usually that they don't care. It's usually that there's no fight. It's usually that there's just nothing that's inspiring about this Arsenal side, and that's sort of what we saw today. It was really, really bad. Besides, the first 10 minutes we've seen on it. But this team is so emotional. Like, the team is so emotional. There's so many ingrained issues throughout this side, whether it's Mesut Ozil, whether it's Alba's contract situation, whether it's Guendouzi's petulance. I mean, I understand why he's angry at the end. I understand, and trust me, I was angry at the end of the game, and I was angry when Leno was injured. But you don't put your hands around the throat of that player. You don't do that. I am as angry as the next person about Leno's injury, and I think Maupay is utter dirt for what he did, for jumping into Leno, trust me. But we're in a situation where we haven't really got any midfielders, and I can't see anything except a ban now for Guendouzi after doing that whatsoever. The kid needs to grow up, and a lot of the players in that team need to grow up, because frankly what we're seeing is not the sum of our parts. It's not the sum of the individuals that we've got on this team. You've got Pepe, who, yes, scored a very nice goal, but was absent for the whole of the game. And just scoring that goal does not absolve him of that. You've then got a situation where Ceballos is next to Guendouzi, and they're our deepest midfielders. Guendouzi, and an emotional wreck of a player. Ceballos, who's brilliant at carrying the ball, but cannot defend effectively. And that leaves us wide open. You've then got a situation at the back where we just aren't sure of ourselves. Then we lose our goalkeeper. Emi Martinez comes in and makes a couple of decent saves on the pitch, and fair play to him because he's come in and he's had to do a job. The goal is utterly silly. The goal is so stupid that we allow that situation to happen. And we see it time after time. A lack of confidence at the back, just failing to clear the ball over and over again. We've seen it against Liverpool. We've seen it against, I think we saw it against Brighton in the home leg. We've seen it against so many teams where we just fail to clear the ball. And it's just basic. It's utterly basic. Let's see what some of you guys are saying in the chat box. Ashraf is done. Ezela says, we need to let most of these players go. Avon says, it is Ozil more than it is anyone else at the club. I mean, Ozil didn't play today. We can't sit here and talk about Ozil. The only reason I brought him up, because it's just one of those side issues that's going along with this club. Glenn Cook says, Ceballos is mediocre at best. Matt Gray, one of our members, says, I want to be positive, but it's so hard. To be honest, you know that on this show we try, and I try so hard to stay as positive as feasibly possible. But it's just a joke. It's just a joke at this point, what we're getting from this team. And I know what's going to happen. And I know there's some petulant people on Twitter going, but I thought Arteta was this amazing coach, blah, blah, blah. He's dealing with a club with players that just don't care. They just don't care. And the only time they do care is if one of their teammates gets hurt and then they want to go strangle one of the opposition players. Let's try and act more rationally now. I feel like getting a little bit of a vent out may have helped my self-esteem and mental breakdown that I'm about to have. Let's talk about the lineup for starters. I really liked Saka in the first half. I really liked what Saka did. I thought he was energetic. I thought he was great. I thought he did some really, really nice touches. I'm just sick of the fact that we can't seem to put goals away early on. We can't seem to score early on in the game. And it's really irritating that we're just sort of left to let this game fester and get away from us, and then we actually score. And then instead of actually pushing for a second after we score, we just let them come on to us. We're going to hold this out for a 1-0. Like, 1-0 to the Arsenal is dead. 1-0 to the Arsenal is so dead and gone, because you're not going to see Arsenal hold out 1-0 wins week after week, because we don't have the defensive capabilities to do it. It's as simple as that. You're not going to see Arsenal do it, and that is why we just need to change everything about what's going on. We have to change. How can you blame Aubameyang for wanting to leave at this point? He's not an Arsenal fan like you and me. He's not an Arsenal fan. So I can't take any issue with the guy for wanting to move on to more ambitious clubs. I can't blame anyone who would rather sign for another top club than Arsenal. Arsenal is in a horrible, horrible place. It's a horrible place to try and sell yourself to. Like, why would Thomas Partey look at Arsenal and think, yeah, that's the next step in my career that I need to take? What madman would look at Arsenal other than being given loads of money wrongly, like Mesut Ozil? Like, who looks at this club as a good place to fulfill their ambitions and their football dreams? Because Arsenal's so-called famous knock it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist anymore. This club has now bred a culture of mediocrity, and it's just going to continue to be that way for as long as we keep a lot of these players in this team. Some players, like if we kept Aubameyang and then managed to sell off half or more than half of this team and replace them, we might be able to build some semblance. But the fact is that even if we were able to bin off half this team in the summer and replace half this team, which isn't going to happen, by the way, it's going to happen 2-3 players at a time if we're lucky, first team players, that is. And even if we did manage to bin off half the team, the other half that came in, there's a huge chance they get infected then with this just dull nature that is surrounding Arsenal and this negativity. Like, these players don't care anymore. They're going to go off the back of this game. They're going to go into the dressing room. They're going to be like, oh, that was a bit crap, weren't it, guys? I can't see anyone who's going to be in that dressing room and really take that dressing room by the scruff of the neck and tell them that they need to sort their lives out and sort everything out that we need, because this season's done. Like, it's a write-off. We ain't achieving top 4. This was a must-win game. We would have overtaken Spurs if it was a nice enough goal swing, which we could only dream of. We could have been even nearer above Wolves. We were given such an olive branch yesterday with the Manchester United Spurs score. But we don't deserve to be in the top 4 with the way that we're playing. We don't deserve it. We just don't deserve it. I feel sorry for Arteta, because you've got a situation where you've got a very, very ambitious coach, a very inexperienced coach who's come in and been given the toughest job ever. I can't see a more difficult Premier League job than Arsenal. I can't see it. You look at Norwich, who are bottom of the league, and you think someone who goes to Norwich thinks, right, I've got a club here with some really decent players in. Yeah, we're not having a great season in the Premier League this year. Probably, well, we are going to go down. But that club looks set to come back up, and there's a project there, because it's a different atmosphere around that club. But Arsenal, who are relentlessly expected to be competing with the likes of Liverpool, Man City, the amount of times we see on Twitter, we should be competing with this team and that team. Arsenal are not in that place anymore. We're not in that place anymore. We need to get real about where we are as a club and build from there. We can't just aim for Man City and Liverpool straight away. That's just not where we're at. It just isn't. Anonymous says, I'm sorry, mate, but we played for a draw today. Arteta is worse than Wenger with the subs. Waiting 200 minutes to make a sub when we were poor. I don't get the subs, and Harun really sums this up for me here. Martinelli. Where is Martinelli? You've got a player in Martinelli that gives you commitment, that runs, that chases the back line, that's got a finish in him, that can really create something. And he doesn't get a chance in either of our last 2 games. We bring on Reece Nelson, whose goal record for Arsenal is nowhere near that of Martinelli's, that every time he's been on the pitch, I haven't really seen much from him. I don't get why he is not getting a chance. And what's the point of putting Ozil in the squad if you're not going to play him? We're lacking creativity. You've got Ozil, who is a creative player, and you don't bring him on. But if you don't want to play him, don't put him in the squad. Go put one of the other youngsters in, because that's where you can criticise Arteta. Why put someone in the squad you're clearly not going to use? What is the point? What is the point of putting him in the squad? There's a lot. Whilst yes, I feel like I'm contradicting myself a little bit here, but like, I do feel sorry for Arteta with the situation that he's been given. But I don't think he's helping himself a lot, and we're going to discuss that, because obviously the Raw Reaction Show, as the show's sort of title suggests, it tells you that this is a raw reaction. This is me being venting and very emotional straight after a game, whereas the podcast tomorrow night is usually a little bit more subdued, a little bit more measured. I don't think it will be, but it hopefully will be. Let's get some more of your comments. Adam Key says, toxic fans, toxic board, toxic club. Now, one of the biggest criticism I have of the fans sometimes is how they act in the ground. And that doesn't count the away fans, because the away fans are fantastic. But at home, it's not a factor in when we win games, the crowd. It just isn't. And if you want to try and argue that, you can, but it's just true. But the thing is that there's no fans in the ground. There's no fans at all. It is team against team. It is 11 against 11, or 10 if the David Luiz is on the pitch. But it's 11 against 11, and it should be plain and simple. The better team should win those games, because there's no sort of momentum from the fans around you to give that psychological edge. It is purely a game of football where two teams play each other. And if that goes to show you the quality levels that we've got at the club right now, there is not a better measure right now of Arsenal Football Club than playing in this environment, because there's nowhere to hide. There's no one else to blame. It's only two teams of football players on that pitch. And that is the best measure of a team's quality. And the fact that we're losing against a Brighton side that's got some decent players in. It's got some decent players in. But you'd think with the money that's been spent, and oh my God, the money. Amount of people going, we don't invest, we don't spend. Aubameyang, 55 million. Lacazette, 50 million. We're looking at Danny Ceballos, that's cost us probably around 10 million just on a loan deal. You're looking at Mustafi, 35 million. Xhaka, 35 million. Kieran Tierney, 25 million. Like, the amount of money that we're spending on players is huge still, but we're not getting anything from them whatsoever. We've got a couple of new members in the chat box. They've scrolled past me. Thank you ever so much for signing up, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Let's try and get some more comments in here, because I know I feel like I'm just venting, and this is mainly usually just about you guys and what you guys want to say and reacting to that, but it's really, really difficult. As says, just sign Welbeck and Michael Smalling. Tiger T's become a member, and so is Harry Robinson. Thank you ever so much, guys, for hitting that join button. If you want to join and get some exclusive content and stand out in our live chat, then please do click that join button. Avon Teddington. Sorry, I've been talking so much, my throat's about to die. The players we are missing is Xhaka, not Ozil. Losing Marie looks a disaster, and Leno might even be a bigger loss. Let's focus on a couple of things here. How many times have I preached and been ridiculed for saying that whilst I don't think Xhaka is a great footballer, but he is so integral to what this team needs. He's so integral to this team. And that shows that I've said so many times. The amount of times I say that Xhaka is integral to this team, and I get lambasted and criticised week on week for saying that Xhaka is integral, because people miss the point that I'm making. I'm not saying that Xhaka's a great footballer. I'm not into here to argue and say that Xhaka's a great footballer. But the thing is, he's better than what we've got in the midfield. And you saw clearly what we lacked in the midfield. Guendouzi and Ceballos is hanging onto the ball for so long. I thought it was a good trait. I thought the trait that he could carry the ball. But the difference between him and comparing him to Santi Cazorla is Santi Cazorla knew exactly when to lay the ball off. Santi Cazorla knew exactly when to play a pass and who to. Ceballos can run with the ball, does a little pirouette, turns around, doesn't really pass to the right person. And that is so infuriating. And please God, and this is coming from someone that really backed the guy when we signed him, and I was buzzing when we signed him, absolutely buzzing. But he's let me down so much in my estimations of what he was as a player. I wrote an article on him saying about what I thought he could be, but he just has not come from anywhere. Let's talk about Leno. Losing Leno is, behind losing Aubameyang to injury, the worst thing that could have happened. The worst thing. And that's not to insult Martinez whatsoever, because I thought Martinez did all right today, actually. He made some decent saves when he came on. But losing Leno is like, we will concede more goals because of that. Because Leno is better than Martinez. Leno makes more saves. And Leno has an impact on the way that we play out from the back, which is clearly something that Arteta is dead set on doing. And Martinez just isn't as good. Just isn't as good at doing that as Leno is. And I want to talk about it because whilst I criticise Guendouzi for what he did at the end of the game, because it was petulant and it was immature and it was stupid, going up and throttling Mopay. Grow the F up, Guendouzi. I'm getting sick of him. I'm getting really sick of his attitude. Right the way back to when he put the old 2-1 up to whatever it was to Watford. He's really, really getting on my nerves. But what Mopay does needs to be looked at. It needs to be looked at because Leno is there. Leno has the ball before Mopay decides to jump into him. Way before. And it goes the way back to thinking about what happened to Debussy, who was basically his Arsenal career was ended by Arnautovic. And there's just no retrospective action. And I'm not salty about it in the sense because Mopay scored the winner. It was a great goal. Fair play to him because he carried on. He didn't let the situation affect him emotionally because he's got his head screwed on, whilst he might be a bit of a douchebag. At the same time, I hate what happens to players when they go up, they've got the ball, and then some idiot comes in and decides to push them over while they're in midair, where they then land awkwardly and get injured. It's so irritating to see that happen time and time and time again. Let's have a look. Tiger T, one of our brand new members, says, Leno saves have kept us in so many games we should have lost. Yeah, so many times. And we're going to lose more games because, believe it or not, this was the game. This is one of those 3 games we've got coming up with Southampton and someone else that we had to win to be any chance of getting back into that top 4. And then we've got like Leicester and we've got some Wolves and like some teams that we have no chance of beating them. No chance. And now we have to sit back and deal with the fact that we've lost to Brighton in a game which we were so certain of winning. And it's so irritating because now I can't even look at my lag group chat at all for the rest of the day because I'm going to get absolutely criminally beaten the S out of. Let's go through some of your comments. Gary Hardy, another one of our members, says the mentality when we went 1-1 was disgusting. No urgency, no pressing, just passing it around at the back line like we had no care in the world. 100%. Matt Gray, the only positive is Tom's haircut. The hair is free. I'm not wearing a hat today. But it's not great. I mean, look at this. There's like bits here and there. I'm praying for the 6th of July to get this down to a 0.5. I can't wait. It's the only positive thing to look forward to in my life at the moment is getting my hair properly cut. And it doesn't even look good when it's done. It's just the only thing I'm looking forward to right now. Oh, God. Avon, Southampton won their game 3-0, and we've got to go to them next. And it's 3 away games in a row. And the thing is, like, playing those 3 away games in a row, it goes to show how mentally weak we are, that even away from home with no fans in the ground, we're still at a massive, massive disadvantage. Massive. Thank you ever so much for the donation, Unknown Driller. He says, when will you admit that Arteta is doing? I love the fact, this is brilliant. I love the fact that you feel that I'm not going to look at your comments. I'm still going to look at your comments without the donation. I really appreciate the donation, but the fact that you're so angry with how I feel about Arteta that you're willing to pay me so you can get the opinion across. Fair play, Unknown Driller, and you're entitled to your opinion. He is inexperienced. I just don't think I don't agree with the too inexperienced. There are so many examples. You look at the likes of Julian Nagelsmann, etc. Like young coaches, Frank Lampard even, young coaches that have come in and done a really good job. And I thought that Arteta had started to change things. I don't think. And Holodonkey says, Holodonkey or Aladonkey, I'm not sure, says the best thing about this, and he says Arteta does not have good game management. I think that is the key part of his game that is clearly the weakest, is in-game management, when to make subs, who to place in different positions where, which is ironic because when we signed him, that was one of the key aspects of his game that we thought was sort of going to be the ace up his sleeve, if you like, is that he was sort of picking things out by the side of Guardiola. But the difference is that he was able to pick things out for a Manchester City side, not for an Arsenal side. It's 2 different things. The subs were shambolic. I completely agree. Pochettino now, says MSM25. Con says, why do we Aussies... Where is it? I've lost that comment. Where did it go? Oh, there's something about us. Where is it? I'm really sorry, Con. Here we go. Why do we Aussies continually watch this pathetic outfit at crazy times during the morning? I have so much sympathy for you, Con. I really do, mate. I'm really sorry that you had to get up so early to watch that. It must be so hard. Gary Hardy says Brighton done the double. Like, yeah, they won at our ground as well. We dropped 6 points to them. So much. Ab says Arsene Wenger, please come back. We need to move on from it. We do need to, but I think we just moved on. We moved on too late. We did move on too late from Wenger. We really did. We missed the point where I think we could transition. If Arsene Wenger had moved on maybe after the FA Cup, there could have been a really, really good sort of tipping off point into something good. But I just think it just happened too late, and I think we've really suffered from it. Joseph Maseko, he's a good friend of the show. He listens every single time. Says Julian is levels above Arteta. He shows intelligence even when he was new to the job. At least Julian could manage the games. Alec Beak, says, I've just missed your comment, Ali. I'm really, really sorry. Where's it gone? I will find it because I'm not someone who misses comments. Here we go. So you think football is your ally? You may have adopted the ball, but we were born with it, molded by it. We didn't see the Prem until we were a good club. By then, it was nothing to us but Brighton. See you in a Brighton chat. Welcome to the chat, mate. Congratulations. We shot ourselves in the foot and gave you the win. So congratulations on that. Derek Williams, thank you ever so much for the donation. Really appreciate it. I wonder if it's someone, I haven't read the comment yet. I wonder if it's someone who's paying money just to, so they know I'd read out something that disagrees with what I'm saying. Derek says, everyone talks about our defence, but our attackers cannot finish. Lower tier club strikers take chances better than our overpaid attackers. 1 chance, 1 goal. It takes us 20. And the thing is, the ironic thing is, we're not even creating enough chances now. We don't even create enough chances in the games these days to even have that. One of our members, PMHK, says, no, Tom, no energy, no desire to win. That is it. The subs didn't help either. The thing that I can't get out of my head is Martinelli. I really don't get why Martinelli didn't come on. It's really, really, really frustrating. But it is what it is. It is what it is at the end of the day. Let's have your words. Please, can you sum up this game in 1 word? Just dropped a statue of a giraffe on the floor. I'm not even joking. It's not mine, but there's a genuine statue of a giraffe that just fell over. But can you please sum up the game in 1 word? Try to keep it clean. I know it might be tricky because I can't show the ones that aren't clean because we're trying to keep it as clean as we can on the channel. But sum the game up, please, in 1 word. The chat is frozen, which means I'm sure loads of you are now spamming it with some horrific words. Yoan Young just sums it up pretty well with pants. Yes, I have to say that I can't really disagree with you on that one because it was absolutely dreadful. It was so bad. Oh, wow, they've all just come through. Yep. Joke. Arteta, grrr, says Panchen. Tiger T says disappointing. Faizan says shambolic. Alex says embarrassing. Shambolic. MSM definitely agrees with you there. Consistent is a good word, Tebow Pesque. It really, really is. Gunataj says wow. These are brilliant. Jimmy Max says pathetic. Anonymous says pathetic. Bant says AM220. Tiger T says shambles. Jam Down says typical. Michael says lazy, disappointing. And Gio, I'm going to finish the show off today with this one. And that is Arsenal, because that is where Arsenal is right now. It just is in this horrible, terrible, disgusting, mind-numbingly boring, consistent situation. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. I hope this has been some form of therapy for you. And if it has been, and if you've enjoyed me mentally breaking down on the screen to you, please hit the like button. Have some positivity in your day to hit the like button, please, on the channel. If you're new for the first time, I'm really sorry that this is the way I've welcomed myself to you. I'm usually a quite positive guy. People in the chat box will tell you, long-time listeners, I am as positive as I can be. And it frustrates the hell out of my chat box because they get so frustrated with how optimistic I always am. But thank you ever so much for tuning in. We'll be here tomorrow night, 9 o'clock UK time, with at least Wayne and Ola, who haven't been on the show for quite a while. So we've got a couple of TGT OGs in the house tomorrow night. Ola and Wayne are coming back, so I'm looking forward to that. There should be another guest as well if someone gets their hands out their backside. So we'll see what happens. I'm disliking. I'm so angry, Bob. Yeah, don't dislike. Please don't dislike it for that. I've provided you a therapy. I'll see you tomorrow. Also, I should be popping on to the Football Terrace in a second with Terry. So if you want to go hear some more breakdown from me, please do. But other than that, bye. Up the Arsenal.